Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are looking at a source that makes a promise, a promise many of us really want to believe, that you can actually achieve fat burning, activate your metabolism, maybe even fix years of bad posture without all that intense cardio, sweating buckets at the gym. The key, this source claims, is just 12 specific stretches you can do at home, plus some deep breathing. Okay, let's unpack this. Our mission here isn't just to list the stretches. We need to dig into these claims. We're trying to find that scientific bridge, right? How does simple static movement lead to these big physiological changes? How can stretching genuinely speed up muscle toning and really fire up your metabolism without you having to break a sweat? So if you're maybe stuck sitting all day, feeling that constant sort of low-level ache in your neck or back, or if you've just been looking for a way to understand why simple movement could actually be a tool for weight management, well, this deep dive is definitely for you.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is how this source kicks things off. It gets that for most people, the big metabolic hurdle isn't just lack of movement, it's chronic stress. So these first few movements, they're positioned almost like neurometabolic regulators. They tackle tension, but they also kickstart internal processes needed for, efficient metabolism.
Okay, so we're not jumping straight into muscle fibers and stretching. We're starting with stress hormones.
Exactly. Think about it. Chronic stress means high cortisol. And cortisol, well, it's basically a metabolism killer. It tells your body to store fat, particularly around the waist, and just hang on to energy. So the goal with these initial stretches is dialing that cortisol down.
Right, makes sense. Let's start with that desk detox section then. First up is the Cobra stretch.
Yep.
Classic. The source says it's perfect if you're stuck at a desk. Activates abs, chest, lower back, stretches the spine. Okay, good for posture. But why list it as a way to burn fat? Mindfully burn fat.
Well, it's that combination of extending the spine while gently compressing the abdomen. When you lift up in Cobra, you're signaling to your nervous system, hey, I'm not collapsed on the couch. That stimulates the parasympathetic side, eases tension. But, crucially, better posture means your diaphragm moves more freely.
The breathing link.
Precisely. Better breathing mechanics mean better oxygen use. And oxygen is fundamental for, cellular energy conversion. We're kind of replacing natural fat burning with let's optimize the hormonal signals that tell the body not to store fat.
Okay, got it. So reducing the signal to store fat is just as key as boosting the signal to burn it. Okay. After Cobra, the source suggests the seated twist. Low impact, works the obliques, spine, glutes. The claim here is about detoxification and better breathing. Is that just, a fancy way of saying it feels good? Yeah. Or is there a real digestive connection?
Oh, there's a very real functional link there. Twisting movements, they kind of create this internal compression and then release. You gently squeeze the abdominal organs. When you untwist, fresh oxygenated blood flows back in.
Like wringing out a sponge.
Sort of, yeah. It helps peristalsis, that's the wave-like movement in your digestive tract, and it just contributes to overall system efficiency. If your digestion is sluggish from sitting, your whole system is less efficient. That hits your energy, hits your metabolism. So it's a simple boost, really, for flexibility and metabolic rate.
Okay, now we get to a stretch the source calls almost magical, the knee to chest stretch. If the goal is internal regulation, this sounds like a big one. Why is this one supposedly the ultimate stress reliever and metabolism booster? I mean, how can tucking my knee to my chest compare to, say, a 20-minute jog?
Right. It's not equivalent for cardiovascular burn, obviously. But in terms of a hormonal reset, it can be pretty revolutionary. This stretch, especially when you do it with that deep diaphragmatic breathing, is one of the most direct ways to stimulate your vagus nerve.
Okay, the vagus nerve. Can you break that down quickly for us? What's the link?
Absolutely. So the vagus nerve is basically the main communication highway between your brain and most of your major organs. Gut, heart, lungs included. When you're stressed, your vagal tone is low. That can lead to things like higher heart rate variability, poor digestion. Gently compressing the abdomen and mobilizing the lower back, like in the knee to chest stretch, sends a powerful calming signal up that nerve pathway.
So it's calming the whole system down.
Exactly. It calms the nervous system, improves circulation down low, and yes, it actively helps digestion. When your nervous system isn't in fight or flight, your body prioritizes optimal function, not just survival. That means it's more likely to actually burn stored energy. That's the real magic you're regulating, the master control system.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. We've talked about regulating things internally. Taming cortisol, activating the vagus nerve. Now the focus seems to shift. We're moving to stretches that need focus and actually build some strength. Moving from passive decompression to active stabilization.
That's the logical progression, yes. It shows this routine isn't just about, flopping around. It's about building structural stability and waking up those big calorie-hungry muscles.
Okay, let's talk the warrior pose, stretch number 3. It's static, right? You hold it, but it feels like serious work. How does just standing still burn significantly more calories?
Because in Warrior, you're bringing large muscle groups, glutes, quads, hamstrings, your core into this intense isometric hold. They're all firing in sync. When you hold challenging positions like that, you create tiny micro tears in those muscle fibers. They need significant energy just to maintain the hold, and then more energy to repair and rebuild afterwards.
You're strengthening the big engines.
Exactly. And strengthening those large muscle groups over time raises your basal metabolic rate, how many calories you burn just existing. Muscle is just metabolically expensive tissue compared to fat, so it's low impact but high demand. A smart way to invest in your long-term energy burn.
Right, the maintenance cost, not just the immediate burn.
Go.
Got it. Okay, right after that, bridge pose. Description says, strengthens glutes, lower back, pelvic floor. Pretty standard. But the source also makes this slightly intriguing claim about benefiting your intimate life. How do we translate that functionally?
We can tie that directly to physical function. Strengthening the pelvic floor, which is really the base of your core, provides incredible stability. It also improves blood flow throughout that whole lower abdominal region.
Okay.
So for both women and men, a stronger pelvic floor and a more stable lower back mean better posture, better movement mechanics, less chronic pain. And yes, improved circulation is functionally good for all internal processes down there. It's really an investment in holistic core stability. And you can scale it, right? Lift a leg, use a block, it grows with you.
Makes sense. Okay, so after those big stabilizers, we move into mobility and balance. Side lunge, targets, quads, glutes, adductors. Emphasis on the intelligence of toning. Are we talking proprioception here? Body awareness.
Precisely. Proprioception is your body's sense of itself in space. The side lunge really challenges your balance and your ability to move sideways laterally. By demanding control in that plane, you're training your joints and ligaments to stabilize dynamically on the fly. That protects your joints long term. And it improves how efficiently you perform everyday movements. Less wasted energy, better functional strength, fewer chances for injury setbacks.
And his partner, the inner thigh stretch. Number 6.
That one's more about pure mobility prep. It opens up the hips, activates those inner thigh muscles, the adductors, and relieves pelvic tension. Lots of tension builds up there from sitting. Think about it. If your hips are super tight, you can't fully engage your glutes or hamstrings when you do things like squat or even just walk properly. This stretch is like active preparation, getting you ready for more efficient strength work. So if we kind of zoom out again, you see the pattern. Stress relief first, then big muscle activation, and now we're looking at systemic optimizers, which raises that interesting question. Can these fairly simple movements actually influence things like endocrine glands, major organ function?
Which leads us straight to maybe the boldest claim in the whole source, the bow pose. Stretch number 10, this one looks challenging. Activates back, thighs, chest. But the specific claim is it stimulates the thyroid gland and therefore directly increases metabolism. Is there actually any evidence that a physical pose can put enough pressure or whatever internally to affect an endocrine gland like the thyroid?
Yeah, it's really important we frame this one carefully. Stretching is not a replacement for medication or proper treatment if someone has, say, hypothyroidism. Let's be clear on that.
Okay, crucial caveat.
Right. However, the deep compression and extension you get in bow pose, you're lying on your stomach, arching back, grabbing your ankles, perhaps it is thought to increase localized blood flow. And it applies gentle pressure in the general area of the thyroid gland in the neck.
So it's more like an optimization tool, a gentle internal massage that boosts nutrient and oxygen delivery to the area.
Exactly. You're potentially enhancing the cellular environment around the gland. By boosting circulation there and really mobilizing the spine and opening the chest, you're encouraging the system to function at its best. That's what we mean by optimization here. It's definitely a powerful move for mobility, but the potential metabolic benefit is linked to that improved circulation idea.
Okay, that makes more sense. Let's round out with the other posture correctors. We have the tricep stretch and the seated side bend. These feel, well, pretty standard. What makes them relevant to metabolism specifically?
Their relevance ties back to breathing capacity and fighting that common upper crossed syndrome, like, the rounded shoulders, head forward posture. The tricep stretch works the back and shoulders, releasing tension that pulls the head forward. You need core activation just to hold the posture correctly. And the seated side bend that actively opens up your rib cage, stretches the muscles between the ribs, the intercostals.
Allowing for deeper breaths again.
Exactly. Better movement in the diaphragm. If your diaphragm can move fully, you take in more oxygen with less effort. And oxygen, well, that's the fuel needed for fat burning. So optimizing how you use it is intrinsically linked to metabolic efficiency.
That connects really nicely back to the Cobra and the breathing mechanics we talked about right at the start. It's like working from the inside out and then back again.
And we shouldn't skip over two other really key holistic poses here. Downward dog, which we touched on as beginner friendly, it's huge. Yes, it activates the whole backside of the body, but that inversion effect head below the heart slightly boosts circulation to the brain. Plus, it's calming. So it's a fantastic stress integrator and posture reset, demanding but regulating.
And the finisher, the triangle pose, looks graceful.
Triangle pose is kind of the ultimate integrating movement, I think. It stretches the spine, hips, chest all at once. It elegantly works on any side-to-side imbalances in your posture, and it requires real focus to maintain that coordination and balance. By stretching and strengthening across different planes, it sort of leaves you feeling symmetrical, efficiently engaged. It locks in the benefits of the whole sequence, great for balance and functional stability.
Okay, so we really dug into the how behind these 12 movements. They aren't just passive stretches, are they? The source presents them as tools to unlock, well, hormonal energy, significantly improve posture, and fire up metabolism by optimizing the very systems that handle energy conversion. Nervous system, circulation, structural integrity. I think the core message we can pull from this source is pretty clear. You might not need exhausting high-intensity workouts to start shifting your body's metabolic framework. What you might need is intelligence, consistency, and focusing on specific targeted movements like these.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the really profound insight here, I think, is realizing just how integrated our metabolic health is with our nervous system regulation. Much more than we usually give it credit for. Those magical stretches focusing on vagal tone, like the knee to chest, they're providing a crucial hormonal shift away from that chronic stress state. It really shows that true metabolic optimization has to be holistic. So, the provocative thought for you, the listener, to consider is this. Next time you feel that tension, tight lower back, shoulders up by your ears, maybe just general afternoon sluggishness, try not to think of it as just a physical annoyance. Instead, ask yourself, how often might that chronic muscle tightness be literally constricting blood flow? Or maybe impeding nerve signals? Could it actually be slowing down your internal processes, not just how fast you walk? Why is this holistic approach looking at posture, circulation, and endocrine health together potentially the real shortcut to boosting cellular efficiency? Maybe start thinking of movement as a kind of internal communication for your body.